Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. That age-old homeschooling question. What about socialization? Today I'm going to talk to you about why my kids are homeschooled partially because of socialization. I think that it's something that most homeschoolers commonly hear when you tell someone for the first time that you homeschool, or maybe not for the first time, maybe as a conversation rolls along. The concept of socialization will inevitably come up, and people will begin to ask you, how do your kids socialize? How do they make friends? How are they going to learn to get along with people of different backgrounds? And I honestly don't understand when the whole idea that kids will learn best how to grow up into decent human beings from being with other kids all the time. As that Bible verse says, bad company corrupts good morals. And I've never been good with, memorizing where it is in the Bible, but I know that there is a verse that says bad company corrupts good morals. I'm pretty sure it's in Proverbs. And that is entirely true when it comes to the school situation. Bad company does corrupt good morals. And yes, I'm not saying that all kids who are in school are bad kids. There are definitely good kids in there. The fact is that as parents, you're not there at the school to see who your kids are hanging around with. And the teachers have 30 kids in their classroom. They cannot oversee every single relationship that goes on in the school setting. And you know what? I don't even know if they would care to, because as much as some teachers love their children, no one is going to love their kids as much as you, the parents, do. So, I think that is really flawed logic to think that kids have to be with a group of other kids in order to learn how to get along with people in the real world. Whatever happened with being with caring adults who can be good role models for them, adults who can show them what it means to have empathy, to want to do things for others, to adults who show them how to serve others. And Israel Wayne, who wrote a book called Education, Does God Have an Opinion? Now, I'm going to do a variation of one of the examples that he did in a speech that I actually watched about that book, where if you think of it, okay, a lot of people, especially Christians, will say that they are putting their kids into school because their kids will be a light to others. And you know what? Yes, we are called to be a light to others. But I think that a lot of adults are forgetting that our children are still children and are still being trained. So now going back to this example here, think of a bag of rotten potatoes, okay? If you have a bag filled with rotten potatoes and you put a good potato in there, is it going to make all of those other potatoes turn good? No, that potato is going to turn bad like the rest. And that is one aspect that I have seen myself when my own kids were in public school. Not to say that my kids were ever bad, but I definitely noticed that they had a completely different temperament. They had a completely different behavior, and they were bringing home lots of things from the school environment that I was not happy with. And to this day, I still regret having my kids in school. Not all of my kids have been in school, but a lot of my kids have spent time in school. And to this day, I still see behaviors in my kids that they picked up from other children at school. So yes, I do homeschool because of socialization. And if you really want me to get into detail, I'll give you some examples of things that we have encountered, specific examples of what made me really want to bring my kids out of school and home with me to where I truly believe they belong. So first of all, you have the example of when one of my daughters was in second grade, there was a boy in her class who would bully the teacher. He would rip off her jewelry. He would hit her. He would run around the classroom yelling and knocking books over. He once threw a desk and hit my daughter on the leg with it. Is that socialization? And then another example that I have is one of my sons. It was his birthday, and we had gotten him a prepaid cell phone for his birthday. And this is big for us, because when you have a family our size, Our kids don't get a whole lot. They get things on their birthdays and they get things on Christmas, and that's about it, because we just don't have that extra income from, two parents working and having maybe like 2 kids. So our kids they honestly have learned to be appreciative of the things that have been given to them. So what happened on my son's birthday, he was in 7th grade at the time. He got that prepaid cell phone for his birthday. He took it to school with him on his birthday, and on his birthday, someone stole it from him. So again, is that the kind of socialization that we want for our kids? And I live down the street from a school. I hear the kids walking up and down the street. I hear them yelling at each other, cursing at each other. I hear the really downright disgusting things that some of them are saying. And that's an elementary school up the street from me, by the way. Then across the street from me, I have a bus stop where, again, you can hear the kids fighting. You can hear them yelling. You can hear them cursing at each other. Is that the socialization that I should be looking for my kids? I'm going to say no. That is not the socialization that I want from my kids. I want my kids to be around people who are good examples. And another thing that we need to think about is that, when did the idea ever come in that school is the only place for your kids to make friends? Homeschooled kids, like it or not, they're not locked in their house all day long. They do get out there. They do make friends. As we speak right now, one of my kids is at her friend's house, and she's there quite a bit. Earlier today, some of my other kids were playing with the boy next door because he had off of school today for Columbus Day. My kids have friends. You don't need to be in school for your kids to have friends, but the difference is that you, as the parent, can be a better supervisor of the relationships that your kids have. You can be a better supervisor of who they are spending time with. You don't have that in school, and I did mention that earlier. And let's not forget that everyone who has ever been in school has heard their teacher say to them countless times when they were caught talking to one of their friends, "You are not here to socialize." So if kids aren't there at school to socialize, why are we told by so many people that our kids have to go to school in order to socialize? It makes absolutely no sense. So yeah, that is just what I have to say about socialization today, because again, it's just something that we hear over and over and over again. And one more thing that I almost did forget about is, let's not forget about bullying, okay? How many kids in schools today are bullied? Thankfully, I never really had that experience with any of my kids while they were in school. Now, one of my kids, he might have been pushed around just a little bit, but it was never to the extent that some of these kids in school today are bullied. And yet they are still sent back to that school every single day. Is that the kind of socialization that I should be looking for? And I have heard people say, well, you know what, a little bullying never hurt anyone. Your kids are going to need to learn how to deal with adversity. First of all, a little bullying has hurt a lot of kids. How many times lately have you heard of school-age children committing suicide because of being bullied? Is that the socialization we should be looking for? Again, I'm going to say no. And also, your kids will learn adversity no matter where they are. Adversity, as much as it does happen in a school setting, I'm certainly not going to deny that. That is not the only place that adversity happens. Your kids are going to need to learn how to deal with other kids at the park, other kids at church, people at the store, sometimes people within their own family, because you know what? As much better I see that my kids get along with each other being homeschooled, it's not perfect. I'm breaking up arguments all the time. Kids deal with adversity when they are at home. And then when you have that, kids need to learn about people from different backgrounds, and they learn that by being in school. Well, that's not always the case, because there are a lot of schools that are very, very homogenous. Everyone is coming from the same culture. Everyone is coming from the same neighborhood. You put your kids in the classrooms, everyone is the same age. How are they learning about people with different backgrounds? In a textbook? My kids can do that at home. Actually, we can do better than that. We can actually go out in the real world where there actually are people of different backgrounds. And our kids can follow along with us, the parents, as we live life, and they can see what real life is all about and not what a simulation of life in a box called a school building looks like. So anyway, yeah, that is why I homeschool, because of socialization. Because in this day and age, I honestly think that there can be no bigger reason to homeschool your kids. That's all there is to it. Anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one down below. And if you would like to check out my Patreon page and see what rewards I have for you there, I would love if you would do that. The link is in the description box. And I hope you have a great day.